Here we have June 2013 question 6, and the question is: the table below indicates various types of market failure, the consequences of each of these failures, and examples of possible intervention. Okay, here it gives us a possible market failure. There's 4 there for us, and in this box we see the consequence of this market failure, and then in the final box we're given an example of the government intervention which, if correct, should correct this market failure here. Let's just deal with the first one. We've got a market failure, factor immobility, when factors of production essentially are unable to be used in the right location or in the right occupational use. And this causes, a consequence of the market failure, an inefficient allocation of resources. Okay. Now, our government intervention proposed here is an increase in indirect taxation. I hope that you're seeing straight away that this cannot be correct. I mean, let's pick an example. Factor immobility, perhaps labour as a factor of production being unable to be located in the right place for that resource to be used. Now, people may be unable to move, perhaps because of family ties, perhaps because of the monetary cost of moving, and that will lead to a market failure of factor immobility. The labour, the factor of production, not being able to be put to use in the right place in the economy. Is an increase in indirect taxation going to solve that? Well, absolutely not. I mean, it makes no sense to increase taxation, direct or indirect, in order to help factors of production get to the right place in the economy. B, public goods. Here we have public goods. The consequence of public goods of the market failure is they're not provided, something like a lighthouse. And the example of intervention here is government provision. So let's just walk through this one. If we have a public good, something like a lighthouse, not being provided by the market but needed for whatever reason, should the government provide it? Will that solve the problem of non-provision? Of course it will. If the government provides it, that directly solves the fact that it has not been provided. So B is in fact our correct answer. But we'll work our way through C and D just to make sure we understand why they're not correct. Okay, C. Demerit goods. Demerit goods are over-consumed. That is the market failure. Something like cigarettes, over-consumed. The social costs of cigarettes are much greater than the private costs. And as a proposed intervention, the government here is proposing a maximum price control. Let's just work through this as a possible solution. If we have something like cigarettes, where they are being overconsumed, too many people are consuming cigarettes, and we put a maximum price on there. Let's say the market rate is £6. If we put a maximum price of £100, is this going to have any effect on the consumption level? Of course not. It will have zero effect on this. The market price will remain at £6 and people will carry on consuming at the same rate. So we can cross that one off. Okay, merit goods. These are underprovided by the market, and we know that to be true. And the proposed intervention here is a minimum price control. Now let's say for a merit good, something like a gym membership is £25 a month. And let's say we put a minimum here of, let's say, £4 a month. This is the government's proposed intervention. Is the fact that now gyms can charge no less than £4 going to have any effect on consumption if the market rate is 25? Of course not. This will have no effect on the price, and people will only boost their consumption if the market price falls. The minimum price does not cause a market price to fall. In fact, if we think about this, these two interventions, to be correct, need to be swapped. For a demerit good, a minimum price is sufficient, and for a merit good, a maximum price is sufficient. And that's why C and D are wrong.